Ngeba Sojola here. In this video, I'd like to just explore Gaza, right? On how actually dangerous that place can actually be for civilians and even for soldiers, right? So when we look at Gaza, right, it's basically known as an open air prison, right? Gaza has a wall which is built by the Israeli Defense Force, right, which basically surrounds it, and it is covered by a lot of civilians. Now, Gaza is a very urban area, right? It has a lot of urbanization that has to it. So it has a lot of tall buildings and installations, right, that are very close to each other, right? Now, by virtue of the fact of the level of urbanization and the level of closeness, proximity of these buildings are in this strip of land known as Gaza, right? Is the fact that now let's say Gaza was just an open area, an open bush, right? And the war happened there, right? You would only need to worry about soldiers behind trees, right? And behind small bushes and things like that. But in an urban setup, right? Every window, every door, every passage, every phone booth, right? Can be used as a place to shoot or to launch a rocket or to somehow add an explosive and hand grenade. So with an urban setup, right, the dangers in which you can actually occur in an urban warfare type of setup actually multiplies, right? So now you're not dealing with one level of fighting, right? You're dealing with fighting on every floor that exists on every building. That any door, right, can be used, any window, any small openings can be used for snipers, right? um, Sewage pipes can be used. So anything can be used in a urban warfare, right? The most recent example which I know is the urban warfare which occurred between the AU soldiers, right, and Al Shabaab, right, around 1993, right, and yeah, let me say the 90s. That urban warfare setup was very, very hectic, similar to the urban setup in Darfur, right? So urban warfare is quite dangerous because anything can be launched from anywhere, right? The amount of places that can be used for attack literally multiplies hundredfold. Now, that is just looking at the built environment of an urban setup. Another reason that an urban warfare is very dangerous is that there's a lot of people there, right? So anybody can attack you from any direction, right? They can hide as civilians and they can attack you. Be it you can pass with your huge tank, right? But I can just slide a hand grenade right in front of your tank or right on top where people use it as an entrance, right? And I've just hidden myself as a normal a food market seller, right? So there's a lot of people who can attack you from any direction, right? Which makes urban warfare very, very, very dangerous. Now, what just multiplies or adds on to the danger of specifically Gaza, right, is the dug out tunnels by Hamas, known as the Hamas Tunnel Network, right? Or known as the Terra Tunnels, right? Hamas have been working on these tunnels for a couple of years, about 4 to 5 years, building literally a city underground Gaza, right? So you have these small channels and caves, right, which actually are used for various things, right, to move weapons, to hide from airstrikes. When we kidnap people, right, as let's say Hamas, or people are kidnapped by Hamas, they are hidden in these tunnels, right? These tunnels basically give an added advantage to the Hamas fighters, right, and the Hamas militia, right? Because it's very complicated to conduct airstrikes and ground offensive, right, in a place like Gaza, right? Because of the dense nature of the place, because of the built environment of the place, but most of all because of the secret network of tunnels which were built by Hamas, right? So these tunnels literally cause terror and fear in the hearts of the Israelis, right? Which actually makes it very complicated for any opposition, right, or any army to be able to fight in Gaza against Hamas very successfully. Now, another thing that makes Gaza very dangerous is the amount of ambush sites which can be established without being detected, right? So there's a lot of ambush sites which Hamas can use to basically funnel the Israeli Defense Force, right, when they conduct their ground offensive. So ambush sites is also another feature which makes Gaza very dangerous for the Israeli Defense Force, right? Now, with all of that, right, you will have about 40,000 militia which belong to Hamas, right? And these militias would be armed with something known as anti-tank missiles, right? Missiles which are specifically designed to destroy tanks, which are used on ground offensives in wars generally, right? So you have people having this thing, right? Now, because it's an urban setup, you have also people setting up booby traps, right? For the Israeli Defense Force, building, let's say, tunnels which lead to nowhere, right? And setting up ambush sites which eventually catches your enemy by surprise,